Hey, welcome to the stream, everybody. You know what it is. We're here to react to One Piece Chapter 1168, and I have not been spoiled at all. But I was told that some of the art is like not complete in this chapter, kind of like Chapter 1098. So that'll be fun to look at. You know, sometimes Oda doesn't make the deadline or whatever it is. So I'm excited to see that. But either way, you know, we're still in the flashback. So I'm pumped for the chapter no matter what. I haven't been told, you know, to beware, because usually I get a couple warnings during the week for like super hype chapters. I didn't get any this week, so I'm kind of expecting, like, I mean, it's still going to be a great chapter, but maybe not quite as big as the last few, which is understandable. I mean, we've had some really big chapters, but nonetheless, I'm super excited for this. So yeah, we're gonna get into it here pretty quickly, but I see some of y'all in the chat down there. Appreciate you. Shout out everyone who's here already. Real quick, Kush Daddy, I saw you super chatted $2 and said Bulls on Parade or Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine. So this was a tough one for me because I know both songs, because sometimes you ask me this and I have to like remind myself, but this one I actually knew both songs, but I went and listened to them right before the stream anyway to remind myself, because both of them were on Guitar Hero. So of course I know both of these very well since I played a good amount of Guitar Hero. This was a really tough one, I'm gonna be honest, but I think I'm gonna go Killing in the Name of. I think. Again, it's a tough call, man. Both those are like GOAT songs. Those are like from Guitar Hero. Like, I wasn't a huge fan personally of like a lot of the songs in Guitar Hero. Not that like I hated them, but I'm just not like a huge rock guy, so they're all kind of like whatever. But those two I vividly remember being great songs. So I'm gonna go Killing in the Name of, but man, that's a tough one. That's genuinely a tough one. But thank you, Kush. Quan did in with the $2. You said 8 out of 10 chapter, in my opinion. How's your day going, Dak? Well, 8 out of 10, that's kind of like I was saying earlier. I didn't get a lot of warnings about the hypeness of this chapter, so I felt like it might be like an 8 out of 10, which 8 out of 10 is still really good, by the way, so I'm excited anyways. My day's going great. Honestly, it didn't start that long ago because I've been waking up super late because, you know, it's cold now, and nighttime comes super early, so my whole sleep schedule is messed up right now. So I woke up like 2 hours ago, maybe 2.5 hours ago, walked my dogs, got a few chores done, you know. But now we're here to react to this. I was actually thinking like all morning, like, I wish I scheduled this a little bit earlier just so I could like wake up and get it done right away. But either way, we're here. You know what I mean? We're here for the peak. Friend Harper with the $5 super sticker with the keep it up, the pair that's working out. I appreciate you, Friend Harper. I unfortunately did not get to work out today, but I did like 3 times this week, so we're on a good pace right now. But 25th Slayer with the $3 super sticker, that is I believe that's a lemon waving high. I love it. Is it? Yeah, okay, it is lemon. I see the leaf. I was like, all I see is yellow. I wasn't sure what it was. I was thinking it might be like a Tweety Bird knockoff, but no, that's definitely a lemon. So I appreciate you, 25th Slayer. And also, as David Codd is saying, like the stream and also join the Discord if you haven't. We actually just crossed 1,000 members. I have not been super active over the last week because I've been busy just doing a ton of other stuff. But after this chapter, I'll definitely be more active because now we should have a break after this, right? I think the way that this is going to work, because every year we get 2 breaks around Christmas and New Year's. So I think we're going to have a break after this chapter, and then we'll get chapter 1169, and then I think 2 breaks after that, I believe, is how that's going to work. Sometimes the TCB releases like a whole week ahead of the official around New Year's. It's always like this weird thing where like the last chapter of the year for TCB isn't the same as the Viz, because Viz does it after the New Year. Anyways, yeah, so we have a couple breaks coming up is what I'm getting at. So we'll have a lot of time to do some videos and do some streams and other discussions like that. So yeah, looking forward to that. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the chapter real quick here. And also, if anybody cares, I swapped where everything is on each of my monitors, so I'm going to be looking the other direction as normal. I hope that's all right. It's just a little, I don't know, I just wanted to switch it up. And honestly, like, I woke up weird the other day and my neck was bothering me, so I put everything on the other monitor so I didn't have to look the other way, and I kind of got used to it, so we're just going to roll with it. Reese Lucas with the $2. Thank God you're here. Par was yapping too much. You know, Par does put the poll up whenever the stream starts that says, like, will this take over an hour for me to finish? So, you know, Par is known to take his time for sure. So I'm happy I could be of assistance for sure. Also, young Usopp, I swear on everything, young Usopp, I swear I was literally thinking about you like last night or the day before, and I was like, man, I have not seen young Usopp in a while. I hope he's all right. I might shoot him a message, and then I got on Discord and I had to scroll very far to. Well, I didn't actually find our messages because I know we messaged before. So then I was searching your name and I didn't see you chatting. You haven't chatted in Discord in a while, so I was like, maybe he's just doing other things. You know, I didn't want to bother you, but I swear on everything, I was literally wondering where you were the other day. So it's crazy that you showed up. Like that to me, that is the most wild thing because it's been like months, my man. But you had a $20 super chat, dude. Thank you so much. Congrats on 100K, man. Sky's the limit, dude. Young Usopp, I appreciate you, man. Coming back at the perfect time. Seriously, thank you. I hope you're doing well, though. Hope you and your family are doing great, young Usopp. Seriously, I'm just happy that you're here and doing okay. You know what I mean? Like, whenever you know, there's regulars who don't pop up for a while. You know, one of the first things I think of is like, did something happen? You know, are they doing okay? You know, health wise or whatever. But I'm glad you're here. Hope everything's going well. Alexander Ivanov, 69 with the membership for 4 months. We back, Supdax, like the stream. Ivankov, as you know, I've almost said before, appreciate you for showing up, my man. Yeah, like the stream, guys, because we are about to get into this. And young Usopp, you said that's crazy, man. Yeah, dude, seriously, that is, the timing's impeccable. But I seriously hope you're doing well, man, for real. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the chapter. Chapter 1168. Elbaf Snow. And so, as with the last like handful of chapters, you know, I did see the title when I was setting up the stream, and so I've been thinking about the title a little bit. I think Elbaf Snow is interesting because of the Loki stuff. You know, I did that video about Loki maybe being Uranus or having some role within Uranus because whenever he gets upset it snows, and we saw that last chapter. And I don't know if that's going to be the focus of this or anything to do with it, but that was the first thing that came to mind. But here we have a cover request. A family of sheep knit 6 gloves for Hachan. And I like this because obviously he's got all these extra hands, so that's pretty cool. It's also cool that it's so I take it that these black sheep knitted these gloves, you know, out of their fur or whatever for him, which makes it even nicer. But now you got to think the sheep have these jackets on, so is the idea that they sacrifice their wool to make those gloves, and so now they're cold but they just get a jacket. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, maybe I kind of like that one. I have a soft spot for Hachan, to be honest. Like, after he had the cover story, which was pretty decent, not one of the craziest, but kind of sentimental a little bit. Yeah, I like Hachan. All right, here we go. 15 years ago, that same year, is last chapter. All over the world, Harald's efforts are paying off, but those giant marines are really doing a good job. They're so reliable. I always thought they looked scary, but now I wouldn't mind meeting one. All right, so this is important because, you know, Harald, the reason that Harald has been going around and trying to like befriend other countries and all that stuff is because he wants to change the way the world views the giants because they're scared of the giants, right? So the fact that now by working with the Marines, some of the world is starting to think more positively of the giants is exactly what Harald wanted. Now, I know there's a lot of downsides to working with the government, as I'm sure many people have talked about. We talked about it a little bit last week. So, you know, there's a lot to say there too. But it is kind of cool to see that it's working because this was his goal. It's sad that he, you know, the route he took to do it. But this is like an okay, you know, like goal in general, but just the means were not good. Can't you get us stocked up again? Elbaf seafood is super popular now, you know. I bet it is. This here is a top quality Elbaf cedar. Because it's the wood. Okay, I was thinking like cider, like a drink. This here is a top quality Elbaf cedar. So this is like, oh wait, is that Umit? Wait, hold on. That's Umit from the shipping company. And he's here shipping what is most likely Adam wood, I'm guessing. I'll take it already. Wait, it's a rare and tricky item to import. Yeah, so here's the Umit. Maybe this is where he started. I mean, I don't know if this is where he started because he seems kind of older, but this definitely helped him become an underworld kingpin or whatever. Elbaf, New World. Harald, Harald. When we finally become a member nation, I think we should build sightseeing ships so people can freely visit all of our allies. See, this is the stuff with Harald that I like. Again, as I was just saying, his means to get there are not good, but, like, I don't know, this is why Harald's a very interesting character to me. Like, he's, like, this is cool for Elbaf, you know? We're actually a rare minority from the perspective of the outside world, but there are many nations out there with a wide variety of races coexisting. This is thanks to a culture of mutual respect. Let's join the larger world, make new friends, and grow in knowledge together. That sounds great. See, that's, hey, look, he's cooking right now. We're one step away. Our future has never been brighter. Yeah, let's ditch this warrior crap. Yeah, see, that is like, and that I think is the kind of like the dilemma a little bit with this, with the stuff that Harald's preaching is like, because we saw it early on in Elbaf too, where some people, you know, are about the scholarly, you know, more peaceful, pacifist kind of ways, right? Like, let's study and respect each other kind of thing. But then there's the other side that still wants to be like that warrior side of Elbaf. You know, they want to live up to like their, you know, their history, their culture, whatever. And I think it's interesting that, you know, like Harald's obviously pushing them strongly in one direction, but I would argue that what we're seeing with Emu is kind of forcing the other side of it, right? Where it's like, yes, it's good to want these things, but you don't have to ditch the warrior mentality entirely. It's still good to be strong and protect your country, right? So I think it's just cool that we're, you know, we're kind of experiencing how they went from one to the other, or at least started to. I'll make it happen, Ida. Oh, so we got to get back to Ida, man. Is Ida gonna make it? That's the question. Walrus School. This is all thanks to you, Saul. Oh, that's right, because Saul wanted to start the school last chapter. Better sharp kids than sharp blades, huh? Dare is she. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, you can have both. But ain't you afraid you've lost something here, Harald? I don't believe that military power is what makes a country strong anymore. It's 'cause of Ida. She taught me. Oh, no. Oh, dude. We were saying it last week. If you're a mom in a flashback, you're cooked, man. That's sad, man. We all could have expected it, but man, just seeing the gravestone, man, I didn't want Ida to die, man. Ida's such a goat, and like, I mean, maybe we're gonna dip back to like a flashback within a flashback to see exactly like her final words and stuff. I hope is what I'm about to see, but just jumping right to the gravestone, sad, man. I didn't want her to die, man. Like, again, if you're a mom in a flashback, I mean, your fate, you know, you're waving death flags everywhere, but it still sucks to see, man. Ida was such a goat. When did we met her? Like what, 10 chapters ago? No, like yeah, like 10 chapters ago, and she's still such a goat, man. Pour one out for Ida, everybody. That's sad, man. Okay, it does look like we're about to get a little flashback within a flashback, because I see it fading from black to gray or whatever in the background. It's because of Ida. She taught me everything. Meeting her was the greatest blessing of my life. Hey, Harald, Elbaf really has changed a lot. When I first came here, there was tons of internal conflict. It was scary. But you've changed everything. Now children can laugh and study instead. It's like a totally different country. The old customs, our backwards traditions, all of those bad practices from the warrior era will be thrown away. Oh, but I kinda like the whole warrior's pride part. It's really cool. You should cherish your culture. Don't you get it, Ida? It's that very culture that's kept us from marrying. I can't accept it. He. You always did say you wanted to make me your legal wife. That really is the sweetest thing. You're so cute. What about Loki? He'll always be Haradin's kid brother, won't he? In my heart, I've always thought of him like that. Feelings like that keep my heart full. Hey, Cliff, we're in the middle of a chapter, buddy. Come on. He barked and came running into the room because he know he's not allowed. It's okay, Cliff. Dude, you just gotta lay down. I know you don't like that Ida died either. None of us do. I know. It's okay. Feelings like that keep my heart full. It's what's kept me going all this time. But don't worry, it's okay. You're everybody's king. You're everybody's. Is it you're everybody's king, Harald, or should I read it like you're everybody's king, comma Harald? You know what I mean? You're everybody's king, Harald. I think that makes more sense. And you're almost there, right? That's right, Ida. It won't be long. Soon we'll be connected with the whole world. Our world will be tens of thousands of times bigger. Then we can go traveling together. And we got this little flashback to whenever they first met, just like the old days. That sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to it. Me too. But then we see your hand kind of drop right there. That is, when they animate this, that's got to be real sad, man. Like, am I led to believe that it's happening in the same moment, or did it skip some time? Like, is this days later and he came back and she just couldn't make it? You know what I'm saying? Either way, it's gonna be really sad in the anime, man. Ida, I should have expected that Ida's death would get like a whole chapter. Man. Like, I knew it was coming, but okay. And so here we see Harald walking away with his face covered. We see Haradin running in. We got the doctor. I assume he's a doctor. I don't know what he really is, but he's the guy who had the pistols in the egghead thing. So here, and so see how Ida's smiling after she died? That, you know, we've seen that a number of times in the story, so that's important to maybe mention. We also see, what's her name? I can't remember now, but the girl who runs the bar now in the background behind Haradin. This panel with Harald covering his face is kind of epic, like with the snow falling in the background. We got Loki in jail right now, and oh, hold on, wait, let me scroll back up. Hold on. So the reason it's called Elbaf Snow is because you see how it starts, at least I'm assuming, because it starts snowing here at the end, and we see Loki's upset, and Oda's kind of putting the snow right next to Loki. He's putting his hat down. I don't know. Is Loki making it snow again because he's sad? Is that what's happening? Man, it sucks that Loki's in jail during this, though. Like, he's not going to get to see Ida. Or, I mean, she's already passed away, but I assume he's already been in jail for a while, so he hasn't been able to see her for a minute. 14 years ago, the Holy Land of Marijwa. Shanks is missing? Indeed. Had he completed his last mission, he would have been formally knighted. Okay, so at the very last second, he decided to leave. Isn't this when he gets the Gomu Gomu? Is it 14 years ago? Let me go double check. I can't remember. I can't keep everything organized. Hold on. It was about 13 years ago. Okay, so about a year after this. So this is right before he does that. As you were our next choice, that opportunity now falls to you. What will you do? I'll naturally accept the honor of being one of the Gods Knights. Doing that will secure Elbaf's membership status. Congratulations, then. The Great One has agreed to trust in you. It's been a long process. You'll be remembered as a king who brought great change to Elbaf. Well, to be honest, when Elbaf finally joins the world government, I plan to relinquish the throne. A younger, more virtuous ruler than I should take over. That is a matter for Mu to decide. Why is there someone on the empty throne? All right, so this is Harald's first time fully knowing that Emu exists, because like they've mentioned that there's like a god or a demon or whatever. I can't remember. Not a demon. I think they just said god, but we know that it's demonic. You know what I'm saying? But now we see Harald, like, he had like this reminds me of the same expression as Cobra. Is that literally the same expression? Hold on. Let me see if I can find that panel. Does that not look exactly like Cobra from that? Here, you know what? I think it's 1084. I'm going to look real quick. I know we're at a really hype point. Sorry to pause it for a second. Just let me go look at this, because it reminds me so much of Cobra. Yeah, it is. It's the same, but Cobra was just flipped horizontally. It's like the same thing. His mouth isn't as open, but like the eyes look the same. The expression's the exact same. Why? Why is there someone on the empty throne? Come, Mu has been watching thee, Harald. So it's very interesting that Harald said he's going to give up the throne as soon as this is done. I wonder, and now they're saying that's a matter for Mu to decide. Well, that's Emu saying that, right? And that's so. And then is this how Harald ends up, getting killed? Is like he, wanted to give up the throne, and that was part of the blunder. I don't know. Now we see Marie-Joie like shaking. I assume that's Harald because he's yelling out, but that's kind of crazy. All right, and so now we see the second mark. So we saw this on Killingham's armband. So we saw this symbol before. So it's interesting. It's just the original one, but just with the horns, basically. This power. Oh, so this is what is like unfinished from the chapter. I see. Okay. It's surging within me. It's chilling. All right, so hold on real quick. It looks like there's like some smoke leaving it. It kind of sucks that this is the unfinished page, because I was wondering like how this symbol actually works. Like is it just a branding? Is it, what I'm like, is it actually like a tattoo? Is it just like Emu put some abyss on your skin and it works? I was wondering how it's made. But I see like some smoke and stuff, so I don't know. Well, there's actually smoke everywhere, so I don't know. It's surging within me. It's chilling. This is the power of immortality. Okay, that's not what I was expecting for this one. Well, I guess it depends on what they mean by immortality, because there's because like regeneration's immortality in one way, and then living forever's immortality in another way. So I wonder if this is just the regeneration one, or if it is the aging one. It still sends shivers down the spine. He's now beyond any wild monster. He has been forged into a mighty weapon. Consider thyself an immortal knight sworn to Mu. Immortal? I can't believe it. Carve an abyss pentagram in Elbaf. That will mark the bond between us. Okay, so that is probably the one that's in the throne room that the God's Knights use to get in there. And so I think that also tells us for sure, which we already like knew this, but I think that's even telling us more that like, yes, you do need a pentagram at the place you want to teleport to. And that just makes me start thinking, where else could there be pentagrams in the world that, like, are there some out there in the universe? Are there pentagrams on other planets? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have those anywhere and get there in an instant. Thy dearest wish shall finally be granted. Huzzah! As soon as this last mission is completed, can't talk today, Elbaf will be recognized as a member nation of the world government. Thank you, King Harald. Oest Castle. Huh? Could you repeat that, Great Emu? Mobilize the entire nation and form a grand army of warriors. The giant warrior fleet will stand alongside the Marines and serve the world as... Wait, no, hold on. Everything I've done was to free Elbaf from violence. Of course, if anyone still wishes to fight, I'll gladly encourage them to enlist in the Marines, but who is the king talking to in there? Thou vowed to atone for Elbaf's history. Look at this panel. Whoa. 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 Dude, this panel with Emu's eyes and the rings behind it? This is pretty intense, man. So real quick, I just gotta say, it's really crazy that Emu's just talking to Harald like this, like they're just permanently connected, because now what I'm presuming is all of the God's Knights, at least who have this level of a mark, are able to talk to Emu. You know what I mean? Like, is Emu just in their ear constantly? I think that's kind of crazy. But then, you know, I know we've had a lot of issues with Harald, but him standing up to Emu in this moment is kind of hype. You know, I mean, I like that a lot for Harald. We'll see exactly where this goes, but I mean, this I think is really exciting, honestly. Thou vowed to atone for Elbaf's history, even at the cost of becoming a slave. I meant to carry that burden alone. The burden of such history is too great for thee to bear alone. Now hold thy tongue. Thou cannot disobey Mu. Those who enter into a deep-sea covenant may gain immortality and power, but it comes at the cost of total obedience. What? Thou will carry out Mu's orders regardless of thine own will. This isn't good. I'm losing control. Elbaf. They never meant for it to become part of the fold. Curse that Emu. Okay, so now look. I mean, you gotta, you know, Harald should not have been this naive to think that, you know, that, like, joining the world government was going to just be, you know, just all fun and games and diplomacy and just not, you know, some twisted stuff. And you would think that Rox would have told him about that, but it seems that now, based off the fact he was shocked that someone sat on the empty throne and he didn't know how all this stuff worked or that this was even a possibility, I would presume that Rox really didn't tell him that much stuff about Emu, which it changes a little bit, because I was kind of presuming that Rox, being his best friend, or they at least seemed like they're best friends, the fact he didn't really tell him, like, yeah, the world government's bad because there's this evil entity way at the top who's controlling everything, and he's a demon and can do X, Y, or Z. Like, maybe Rox didn't know the full extent of the powers, but he obviously knew that Emu was up there, and probably knew that beating Emu was hard. He was trying to, like, be ready for Emu, so he had an idea. So the fact that Rox really didn't tell Harald that much, like, it does change things a little bit for me. I still think Harald's, like, super naive, but the fact he really didn't know about any of that, and then the second that Mu's like, all right, time to use Elbaf for my own purposes, he's like, you know, like, it looks like he wants to get rid of that mark almost. But so I presume what's about to happen is Emu's gonna, like, I don't want to say Domi Reversi, because I feel like that's for people who don't have the mark, so I wonder if there's a different kind of Domi Reversi that's about to happen. Guards. The plan was always to enslave the warriors of Elbaf. What is it, your majesty? Is someone... Chain me to this pillar, huh? Hurry, summon Elder Jarl and my sons. But, sire, I believe Haradin is still out at sea, and Loki, Lord Loki that is still imprisoned after what happened. I can't resist for long. What exactly is this concerning, your majesty? None of that matters now. Release him. Jail, realm of the dead. You're free to go, Loki. Head to Oest Castle at once. The king requires your presence. So real quick before I continue, I know we're almost done. This might be the final page. It's really cool to see this perspective now, because remember at the start of the flashback, we saw Loki was like walking in with Jarl, and he's like, yeah, I got summoned here. Don't know why. It's interesting that it's even like deeper than that, where like Loki was in jail before this, and then he got summoned. So it's like, I don't know, like, you know, it's just an interesting situation, I think. Jarl's house. Something urgent? What's going on? And so we return to where this tale began. The day of the castle massacre, when Elbaf's most beloved king, Harald the Benevolent, lost his life. History converges. Translator notes real quick. The Romanized spelling Elbaf appeared in the artwork of this chapter. Oh, because you're saying that Elbaf with an F. Oh, it did. Oh, whoa, hey, hold on. Is Fable Backwards back? I thought Fable Backwards was getting retired, from the theory realm, but now are we bringing that back? Where's it at? Hold on. That's crazy, man. That's actually I much prefer Elbaf with an F. I never really started spelling it with a PH. But if F is back in the fold, I mean, hey, I'm all about that. That's, yeah, I see the F right there. Hey, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So now the F is back. Rapo, you said the notes are a copy paste as previous chapter when we entered Elbaf. I believe it was the opposite though, right? Because originally they said they used to spell it with an F, but the ship said PH. But now the ship says F again. Like, it's the same ship, it's just they switched, I think, well, it looks, yeah. So they just switched it back to F, which I like. I prefer that. Oh yeah, the El-Baphomet theory, yeah, I guess that one might kind of hurt a little bit if the PH isn't true. I don't know, maybe they're just both true. Maybe all the theories are in play, you know? Overall, though, I thought that was a great chapter, actually. I think I might rate this higher than most people. I mean, I love this chapter. I mean, Ida dying sucks. I mean, we knew it was going to happen, but it sucks. But then the stuff at the end with Harald, man, I really like that. And so we also know that mark gives immortality, so... Again, I wonder, though, is that immortality just the regeneration, or is it true immortality, like you live forever kind of immortality? Because I feel like that really matters, because let's say it is the live forever immortality, and let's say you also get regeneration and whatever. So then what do you get for the final contract? That's what I'm wondering. Like, what's the added bonus there? And it is kind of crazy that, like how quick this was. Like, you know, like, Harald gets the mark. What was it? Was that 15 years ago that happened? So was it, how much time went by? Let me go double check. So this was 14 years ago, and this is the same year that he died. So this is, like, right after he gets that mark, and then immediately Emu's like, all right, hey, time to make an army that I need to use. And Harald's like, what? No, I'm not doing that. And Emu's like, yeah, you swore yourself to me. That's too bad. Like, it was very quick. And, like, I mean, like I said, Harald should not have been that naive. But at the same time, Rock's not telling him about Emu is very weird, you know? It would make more sense if Rox was like, dude, there's someone up there you don't want to mess with. And that would have made it more convincing, you know what I mean? Like, Rox really didn't want Harald to work with the government, but also didn't tell him, like, the biggest piece of info to know. I don't know. I find it interesting. Not that there's, like, an issue with it. I just... It would have made it would make Harald easier to hate if he had known that Emu was up there and he's like, I don't care if there's a demon up there, I'm doing it. But that's not what happened, so I don't know. But let's go ahead and get into the super chats real quick. Young Usopp, I saw that one. Alexander, I saw that one. Mr. Bushido, I see you got a handful of them here, so I'm going to go through all of them real quick. For €5, you said, you see Umit in one panel delivering seaweed. you putting a space between sea and weed made me think that, like, there's weed on the ocean that Umit is now trafficking. But you see Umit one panel delivering seaweed. He's one of the underworld emperors in Whole Cake Island. His name is Deep Sea Umit. Take T out, reverse it. Deep contract Emu. I guess that's kind of interesting. That is his actual epithet, right? Deep sea. Oop, I spelled that wrong and I got some. Oh, you guys can probably see what I'm Googling. Or, well, not really. It's kind of like faded through, but oh yeah, deep sea currents, Umit. Yeah. It is interesting that he's in this chapter, though. I think of all the people. Yeah, it is interesting with the deep sea current, deep sea contract. I doubt there's much there, but Umit has, like, risen in importance, right? Because, like, he was tied to the, you know, like, the Lafitte thing, like, with the revolutionaries stopping the food storages or whatever, or destroying the food storages, stopping the bandalas, whatever. So it is kind of interesting. And then you also said, next villain will be a giant who wants to bring Elbaf back to its evil ways of raiding other countries. His slogan will be "Make Elbaf Great Again." All right, that's actually kind of funny. I doubt that'll be true. I really hope it's not true. I think, you know, we've had enough of that, but I could, well, because you realistically though, you got to think about the what are they called? The elders? Is that what they're the four elder statesmen of Elbaf? Those four silhouettes that we keep seeing, those guys. We haven't really learned about them, so I do think they are gonna become a major factor at some point. Like, they feel like the Gorosei of Elbaf, and I mean that even in like a more serious way, where like the Gorosei, like they probably work with the Gorosei in government. Like those elders have probably been in cahoots with Emu and the government for a long time, and so seriously trying to like, you know, bring Elbaf back to its evil ways and whatever. Like those elders might be the perfect people to kind of jump in and be like, hey, without, you know, Elbaf doesn't have a sovereign, so we're going to step in and we're going to tell you all how it has to be, and you all need to form an army. Like, I could see that kind of happening. So yeah, those guys do need to come back, I think, like, and be a major factor, because they're the ones who set up the Estrid thing. They were mentioned a couple chapters ago too. I feel like they probably set up the Big Mom and Loki thing also, or at least had a hand in it, which we skipped over that in this flashback. So Ida is a D, so Haradine is also a D. Is Ida a D? Is that, did we learn that and I just don't remember? Okay, okay, we don't actually know that. I was just making sure. So are you saying that just because like, she smiled at the end or something, maybe? Is that what you're getting at? I could see her being a D, though. Like, I don't see any... I mean, at this point, like, I feel like everyone can be a D. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually, the Sa Bo thing, the Sa D Bo thing kind of told me that, like, even if you weren't born a D, you can just, like, just adopt it, I guess. So anyone can be a D at this point. So Ida, I could see it. I could definitely see it. Time Lord, you said hey, I mean, we don't know her last name, so maybe that is it. Yeah, just because she smiled, that could be a decent reason to look at. I mean, have we had people smile in death who weren't D's? I'm trying to think. Like, Nolan didn't smile. I don't know. I can't think through all the examples off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of hidden D members, I think, as the story goes on, so I could see it. 25th Slayer with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Slayer. I kind of feel bad for Harald, but he got himself into that mess. That's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at. Is like, it's easy for us to rag on Harald because we know Emu is bad and we know what the world government has done, and Harald to a degree does. But as I brought up a few times, the fact he did not even know Emu existed and Rox did, that's a huge factor for me. So yeah, like, he did get himself into this mess, and he was very naive in doing so. Like Rox was begging you not to do this. Even if you didn't know about Emu, you still should be able to put two and two together and kind of know, like, hey, maybe there is a better path than this. You know what I mean? Because look, the other country, I mean, like, having some of the giants work for the Marines is one thing. If he had just stopped there, I think he'd be fine. Because yes, the Marines do a lot of bad stuff. They protect the really bad people, whatever. Like, there's definitely that angle to it. But the Marines were already making the world think differently of the giants, right? We saw that earlier in the chapter. So it's like, you know, like, Harald, you didn't have to go any further. You could have stopped right here, and you would have been fine. So, so yeah, it's like his heart was in the right place the whole time, and I do respect that about him. He was just so naive about it, you know? But that's something I feel like we see from a lot of, like, kings and even princes, is like they're all like a little bit naive in their own way. Well, either they stick to the traditions too much, maybe like Wano before Odin, where like they didn't open the borders. Now we know there was like a good reason for it now, but that's just kind of how it seems. And now actually Momo is keeping the borders still up, so there's even more credence to that. But then, you know, Odin was, I mean, he was, I feel like, naive in a bunch of ways, but he obviously was different in that way, where he did want to open the borders, and him leaving actually helped Elbaf. So, like, I like that Oda gives us people, like, on different sides of, like, the political spectrum in that way, where some people do want to have more cooperation, some don't, you know what I mean? So I like that. But so Harold's heart was in the right place. He just made some silly choices. But like I said, Rox keeping him in the dark on Emu, That's a huge factor. That has to be brought up anytime, we're kind of dogging Harald a little bit, is like, it would have helped if Rox just said, hey, there's this demon at the top. You know what I'm like? There is somebody who sits on the throne. He's really strong. You can't stop him. Like, but whatever. Overall, I'm super excited for the next chapter, though. I'll say that, to see what actually happens. Because obviously Harald's going to die by the hands of Loki, but like, I feel like he is going to get Domi reversied in quotes, but like I was saying, it's probably going to be a different one because he actually has the mark, so he might be even bigger and stronger and scarier than normal. So I'm excited to see that. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Harald should have devoted himself to Carrot, not Emu. You know what? For once, I think we can agree, Bushido, because if he devoted himself to Carrot, then he could just, ignore Carrot all he wanted and he'd be fine. But if he ignores Emu, then he gets taken over and has to, start hurting a bunch of people. So I actually agree with you for once. Carrot would have been better here for sure. And then you also said, like the stream, join the Discord. Bushido, I appreciate you for saying this every week. Seriously, thank you for recruiting. I also know you recruit a lot of people in general, even outside of like the streams here. So seriously, I appreciate you, man. Guys, definitely join the Discord. I know I said it earlier, but we have finally hit 1,000 people, which I think is awesome. So definitely join. There's always One Piece discussion going on in there. Even if I don't chat all the time, I'm lurking like all the time. Like anytime I'm like, here's a great example. If I drive to like a drive-through to go get some food or whatever, or even if I'm like at Costco waiting in line to fill up the gas, because there are lines to, I don't know if anybody's been to Costco, but it's a new experience to me to wait in line for gas. But either way, one of the first things I'll do is open up Discord and just scroll through the theory zone or whatever and just see what you guys are cooking. So there's always like good ideas in there for sure. And then you also said Shirahoshi said Luffy is the first who spoke harshly to her, but Loki speaks harsh to everyone. Does this hurt the Mosa idea? Or is Oda just trolling us last chapter? I would say if it isn't Shirahoshi, Oda, that would be an all-time troll from Oda. And like, I'm not opposed to that at all. I mean, like, I don't hate Shirahoshi being Mosa, but I mean, my favorite guess would have been Eris, although I feel like she's probably dead at this point, so it wouldn't have worked anyway. But if that would be an all-time troll if it wasn't at this point, right? Like, he heard the theories of like her being like Harry or whatever back in the Roger flashback, and he's like, oh, you know what? Let's bring that back as like a little joke. That would be funny, but I feel like it's probably her. But I mean, but maybe Loki just didn't speak very harshly to her. You know what I'm saying? Because like we saw him get kind of angry a little bit with her on the call, but that's obviously after Shirahoshi met Luffy. So maybe he was nice before that. Although whenever he did kind of like yell, she did say like, I know you're kind under that rough exterior or something to that effect. And that would make me think that he probably has been mean to her before. So that's a good point. That is a good point. The original Mosa, King Neptune. Hey, look, I love Neptune. Hey, boys, come here. Cliff, come. My dog just sprinted towards the window because there's a school bus letting kids off and the kids are yelling, so they're about to bark, so I got to get him back in here. Ralph, come on, buddy. It's okay, dude. It's okay. We just walked by the school, and he got to see the kids at recess earlier, and so now he's excited again to see the kids. So, Ralph, you're gonna have to relax, buddy. They were prepping to bark. They were prepping. Let's see here. JR Writer 203. I think Harold's naivete is just reflective of how much Ida impacted him. Yeah, he was almost blinded after that slap Ida gave. That I agree 100%. I hesitate to call myself a Harald defender because he went a little bit too far at this point, I think. Like, whenever he took out the horns and kind of like prostrated himself, like, you know what I mean? Like I'll do whatever it takes. It was kind of like that was the point where I started getting a little worried for the guy, because I was like, okay, now, like, I don't know if I fully I don't know how far you're gonna go now, Harold. And he went a little bit too far, getting the marks and everything. So like that, he went a little bit far, but I would say I'm a little bit of a Harold defender in the way that you're describing it right here, where it's like he was trying to help, right? And Ida Ida is the reason for that. Like, he was originally like, yeah, we're tough warriors. We don't need anybody. We can just stomp over everyone. It doesn't matter. And had he kept that mindset, he would have never worked with the government or cared about joining the Reverie and stuff. But Ida showed him a better way, and Ida is correct, right? That's the thing, is Ida is right that the giants should, you know, be kinder and work with other people. They shouldn't just go and rampage wherever. And we even saw in this chapter, and I really appreciated this, when Ida said, like, well, don't give up your warrior. Yeah. Oh, but I kind of like the whole warrior's pride part. It's really cool. You should cherish that. It's like, Ida understands that, like, you don't have to be completely one way or the other. You just got to be kind of decent to people so they don't hate you, right? Like, if the more you hurt people and steal from them, they're going to hate you, and that's going to create the, you know, feelings about Elbaf that people have had for a while. And so Ida is right that he should have been kinder and more cooperative, but he just took it too far. That's the main thing. And so, yeah, like, Ida, you know, I really at the end of the day, I blame those elders. Those sketchy silhouetted elders are the entire problem, because that's why Ida and Harald didn't get to get married. And I feel like if they did get married, he probably would have been on an even better, like, trajectory. You know what I mean? I feel like he almost, because of the fact that they didn't get married and he married Estrid and it didn't work out and all that kind of stuff, I feel like he's almost trying to make up for it in a way. Like, he's going overboard and trying to make them kinder and more cooperative. And even Ida's like, well, wait, you don't have to give up all of the culture, right? Like, she kind of, like, if she had been in his ear the entire time, like, where they got to live together and stuff, and she was, like, allowed to have a role in Elbaf, I feel like they would have been on, like, the perfect trajectory. But he was almost making up for the fact that she wasn't able to do that, right? And he's like, well, I'm gonna do everything Ida was saying. I'm gonna be perfect. I'm gonna go help every single group, and we're gonna give up entirely that old culture. And it's like, well, now that's too much, you know? So yeah, I agree with you. His naivete is just a reflection of how much Ida impacted him, and he wanted to make up for the wrongs, you know, of the past. Cloud Lizard with the $10 super chat. I also saw you celebrated a membership for 11 months. You said, sorry for the craziness working in snow today. And now I'm pumped for this super chat. I haven't read the super chat yet, but I saw that one. So I was like, okay, now you're going to be cooking. That sucks you're working in the snow today though, man. Seriously. I hope stay warm. I don't know where you live, but I know it's super duper cold where I live. And so if you have snow, it's probably also super cold. So be safe. Don't slip. When I was walking the dogs earlier, man, they don't pull a lot, but they do very occasionally, and it's so slippery because of the snow. I thought I was gonna face plant a few times. So yeah, be safe. But for $10, you said, hey Dak, a lot in my head. Rox didn't tell Harald for the guilt of making the first. Wait, Rox didn't tell Harald for the guilt of making the first contract to bring Emu from the void. Galley Raw is frozen equal undying / Domi reversied. Emu forest witch control devils. And now I see why you're saying sorry for the craziness. Those are a lot of crazy ideas, but in a good way. You know what I'm saying? So first part, Rox didn't tell Harald for the guilt of making the first contract to bring Emu from the void. So are you saying that Rox brought Emu from the void? Are you saying that, or are you maybe saying that Davy Jones did? Like, Davy Jones had a role in it, and now Rox is, like, making up for that? Because I feel like Emu's definitely been around, you know, for a really long time, so I doubt it's that. But if you're talking about, like, Davy Jones, like, Rox is making up for the family's mistake of bringing Emu from the void. I like that. Actually, I really like that. I don't know if Rox would have, like, guilt over that, but I like that Davy Jones could connect to the first contract, or to whatever first brought Emu from the void. Because think about the names of the contracts. You have, like, what is it? Shallow Sea, Deep Sea, and Deep Deep Sea, or sometimes translated as, like, Abyss. And, like, Davy Jones, you know, Davy Jones' locker is at the bottom of the sea. The bottom of the sea is the Abyss. It's all dark and everything, right? So I think there's, like, a lot of important connections there. So I could actually see Davy Jones having some play with the first Emu. You said Davy Jones' mistake. Okay, so that is what you're saying. Okay. it goes with Joy Boy's apology. I agree. And also the promise that Rox was talking about, right? So actually, I completely agree with that. Like, maybe Rox knew, like, my family made a mistake to bring this guy back, and I'm going to keep the promise of sending him back, maybe was the idea. And that could be cool for Blackbeard, too, where whenever it comes to Emu, it's like, there could be a really cool tie there to just Luffy and Blackbeard, where it's like, if Davy Jones and Joy Boy are separate people, like, maybe Davy Jones did bring Emu, or like whatever's controlling Emu, right? Because Emu was one of the original 20 kings, but there's some weird power system, so maybe Davy is responsible for what powered up Emu because Davy was trying to beat Joy Boy. So there's this cool connection where now, like, Blackbeard wants revenge on Emu for, like, taking advantage of them, and Joy Boy wants revenge on Emu just for defeating them, and so it creates, like, an unlikely team-up, but obviously Luffy and Blackbeard are also opposition, so, like, that could just be a cool way to, like, mix all those different things, you know? And then as for Galera, however you pronounce that, being frozen equal undying or Domi Reversied. So my interpretation, and I could be wrong on this, but my interpretation of, like, Domi Reversi is like you're burning through your lifespan quickly, because Emu said, like, give up thy lifespan for a body unyielding to death, and, like, maybe they just never die. Like, maybe that's what it is. Like, they just rampage forever until somebody stops them. But I kind of read it more as like they're burning through their lifespan quickly, because that's, I brought it up in a few videos ago, but like, you look at like Ice Oni Virus or Sulong or energy steroids or like any big power up in the story, Gear 5th, all the other gears, they all take a lot out of you and leave you like completely spent afterward. Even Chopper's Monster Point would do that, right? Like, all these major power-ups do that, and I feel like it's a fair trade-off. So I'm more of the belief that if you get Domi Reversied, you're just rampaging until you run out of life force and then you die, roughly. Again, that's not confirmed, that's just how I'm viewing it. So whenever it says Galera is frozen, I don't know if that would be Domi Reversied, because I feel like they'd be dead by now, roughly. But I mean, but if they actually, going back to the Ice Oni Virus, it is an Ice Oni Virus, so there might be some connection there, like that's some kind of foreshadowing. So like maybe Galera got frozen, or no, got Domi Reversied and then got frozen to stop them, so whenever they do get unfrozen, they're still Domi Reversied. Part of me would think that if you're Domi Reversied, like, freezing just isn't going to work, like, you're going to be too strong and crazy to get frozen, but I could be wrong, who knows. But I did always think that the Ice Oni Virus was so interesting ever since we saw Domi Reversi, because it's like they were turning into similar looking things to like what Domi Reversi does, right? Like at least teeth wise, and obviously, like I said, ice, and now we're talking about frozen giants. So yeah, I don't know. I'm actually thinking about doing a Galera video soon, so I might expand on this a little bit later, but I feel like Galera has a big future in the story, I'll say that much. And then you also said Emu, Forest Witch, Control Devils. I definitely think on the mural, like, the Forest God was definitely Emu, because it said, like, tames devils or whatever. And also, like, in the second world part, if you look at the mural sequentially, like, if the right side's the first world, the middle part of the mural is the second world, and left part's the third world, which I definitely think is accurate. The second world also has like the dragon at the top of the tree, and you just think like Emu's probably at the top of the Eve tree, head of the celestial dragons. Even that dragon being at the top of the tree, that's very close to space on the mural, so I'm like, that's definitely Emu. And with them talking about forest god and all that, I think that's definitely it. So yeah, don't apologize for the craziness, by the way. You said I think you need to make Emu afraid to break the Domi Reversi. That I can see, because like, I mean, it goes in line with like Sugar had to like pass out, but like even Big Mom Soul Powers works on fear and stuff like that. So I think you're probably onto something. It's like Emu has a lot of different powers though, right? Like these contracts seem to be part of it. Taking over people's bodies seems to be part of it. Domi Reversi is obviously part of it. Transforming with Saturn, I mean, that might be adjacent to taking over like the God's Knight's bodies, but it also is a little bit weirder because like Emu, that was just a weird form, right? So So I feel like if Emu, gets scared or if Emu passes out, some of that will cancel. I don't know if it'll be all of it, right? Because Emu's powers are just so pervasive. But I think Domi Reversi would be the most likely to cancel if Emu got scared or got knocked out or something. Because that's like an active, ongoing thing where people are, like being affected by it, like in real time. But all of Emu's other powers, I wonder how they get impacted. Like I doubt all the marks go away, or I doubt that, like, if Emu passes out, I'm sure that people who have the marks can still transform or still regenerate or whatever. So I wonder how all that works. But Domi Reversi probably makes the most sense for canceling. Let's see. Rapo96 with the 10-pound super chat. Harald might be the worst guy in my opinion because he lost sight of what Ida truly wanted and he made his own assumptions. You can see how he corrects Ida when she said she liked all the Warriors Pride part. Yeah, like that. And I think you sent that before I had that last diatribe on it. But yeah, like he went too far, right? That's the whole thing is like he started out on one end of the spectrum, and then Ida was kind of like in the middle of the spectrum, like, hey, you don't have to be that horrible, you can just be kind of nice and treat people decent. And so Harald swung on the opposite side of the pendulum and was like, well, I'm gonna be the complete pacifist, like no war at all, no fighting, nothing. And then Ida's like, now you're too far the other way, man. Like you gotta come back, stop being so extreme. So yeah, you're right. He lost sight of what Ida truly wanted. He just remembered Ida wants peace. Ida wants me to work together with people. And so he just did that ad nauseum. And then, like you said, even here, he's like, no, Ida, don't you get it? Like, that culture is the whole problem. And she's like, oh, man, you got to calm down, man. Like, she didn't actually say that, but that's definitely what she's thinking. She's like, you're doing too much. So I agree. I really... Honestly, of all the decisions that Harald made, I feel like the thing that I dislike the most is maybe like telling Ida that she's wrong here, basically. Like he didn't say those exact words, but whenever she's like, no, cherish your culture, he's like, no. Like, that might be one of the most wrong things he did, because Ida's, for one thing, we got to know Ida's always cooking, right? Ida's never capped ever in her life, so like, Harald needs to calm down a little bit, because like I said with the Emu thing, he didn't really understand who Emu was. Like, Rox didn't tell him. Like, this is all news to him. So I can still blame him for getting the mark upgrade and all that, because he did see Emu before the upgrade happened. But but he didn't know before he walked in the room. Maybe I can have a little bit of grace for him there. But talking back to Ida, I know he's not trying to be rude, but like he is kind of being rude. You know what I'm saying? So like, because Ida kind of just kept talking. She wasn't really affected, but like that was a clear example of how Harald does not fully get what he's really supposed to be doing. So I agree with you, Rapo. I agree. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici became a member. I don't see any attached member messages. I don't know if there was supposed to be, but either way, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I just noticed my chat is also now frozen, as happens after a while on these streams. So let me go ahead and pull up the chat on a different tab. Give me 1 second. There we go. Now I can see the chat. All right. Let's see. Where was I at? Vasil Vlad. I know you have a super chat later, so I'll get to that. It said one. Oh, you have a 3-parter. All right. Let me go ahead and just get through these real quick, and then I'll get to yours. Nico Vento. Member for 17 months, must destroy all contracts before Mu can be killed. That's an interesting way to think about it, because what that would also parallel very strongly is the Sun Pirates, right? Covering up the mark of the Celestial Dragon, like the hoof branding or whatever. It would parallel that very strongly, where now it's like, hey, everyone with a contract has to like get a tattoo to cover it, like, because that's one way to destroy it. I mean, will that actually work? I mean, it kind of depends. Like, if that tattoo is like a dark, like, if it's not really a tattoo or a branding and it's actually like some Abyss stuff, maybe covering it won't work. So maybe you have to cover it in a special way. But either way, I think that would be a really cool parallel to that. So I'm actually that's a great plot line the more I think about it. I also was making the joke, I forget where, but remember in Egghead when Luffy, like, his scar flew off his body in Gear 5th? I don't know if he can use Gear 5th to rip off the Abyss markings, but I think that would be kind of crazy. And I don't know what would happen here, but imagine if Luffy, like, takes it off and then, like, puts all the Abyss marks on Emu. So, like, I don't know if that would affect Emu in some way or what, or if he just removed it and put it on something else. Like, if he takes the Abyss mark off of, I don't even know, one of the Gods Knights and then puts it, like, on a tree, would the tree start doing something? You know, I don't know, but I like that a lot. Let's see. Mr. Bushido, you got two in a row here. Haraldine clawing, or Harald, sorry. I saw H-A-R and I thought Haraldine, but Harald makes more sense. Harald clawing at his tattoo reminds me of Nami and Arlong. Oh, yeah, that too. That's another tattoo covering sort of situation, you know, going back to the Sun Pirates. It's kind of the same thing. And I'm like, I don't know if it'll be just covering it like the Sun Pirates or if it'll be like redrawing them in a way like Nami or ripping them off like Luffy with the, you know, Gear 5 stuff. But getting rid of the marks is going to become a plot line. Like, and I don't know if it'll be that we're getting rid of the marks on, like, on all of the Gods Knights to nerf them or to save them even, because what if they're all, like, brainwashed now from that? Like, because of Gunko, right? Maybe saving Gunko, because after Gunko got some of those memories, I don't know if Gunko's really going to continue being evil, you know, once Emu's done controlling her. So maybe getting rid of the mark is going to be necessary to truly save her. And so, yeah, I don't know how that's all going to go down, but that's going to become a plot point. For sure, on some level. And also, you said, did Akainu meet Mu? He references someone above the elders. I would venture a guess that the fleet admiral is made aware of Mu's existence. I could be wrong on that, but I would think so. Like, like the fleet admiral and maybe the admirals, maybe, because the admirals are all, like, they have to listen to the celestial dragons. And at least in my mind, it might make sense to, like, for your top military brass who, you know, have to listen to the celestial dragons and protect them and all that kind of stuff, it would kind of make sense for them to know, like, the hierarchy and system of the celestial dragons and know that at least that there is a bigger leader above them all, you know. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like fleet admiral of all of them would seem pretty likely, so I would think so. Not that I don't know if he would meet Emu though. Like, I don't know if Akainu would have to meet Emu face to face, but it might be the Gorosei just saying, like, well, something you need to know as Fleet Admiral is that there is a god above us who controls all of this, and you're actually listening to him. We're just the voice of him, and that's it. Like, you don't have to say much more. Something like that. And then Vasil Vlad Ivanovici with a £5 super chat, but 3 of them in a row. So I'm going to go ahead and read all of these in a row. Could Harald be characterized as a coward? He had friend nations, he had power, he was loved by his people, yet again and again he avoids conflict. He simply never stands up for himself, or for his friend against the world government, or for his family against the elders, and is afraid of popularity polls. My man had all the potential of becoming the new Joy Boy and make his own version of the ancient kingdom with the unaffiliated nations. I think that's a fair way to break it down. I'll be honest. I mean, it's interesting because I think when people, you know, whenever they say, like, you're a coward, it's like, it's not usually in the way that Harald has been a coward, but I think you could maybe say that he is, because, like, we know he's a really tough, strong guy, right? Like, we saw whenever he was younger, he was just, like, wrecking entire islands. I mean, the fact he could even fight rocks is, like, insane, right? So we know he's not, like, a coward in that sense. Like, he will go mess people up if he needs to, but he is a bit of a coward in the sense of, like especially with, like, the elders that weren't letting him and Ida get married. Like, at what point does Harald just say, screw that, like, I'm gonna marry her anyway? You know what I mean? Like, maybe and he's the one who wants to ditch a lot of the old traditions of Elbaf that he doesn't think work anymore. So why listen to these elders who were banning a marriage just because she doesn't have the same blood as an Elbaf person or whatever, right? Like I don't know if, like, in some ways he is. And so I like the way you're putting it. Like, some of the things, you know, like as far as like not standing up for himself or his friends or whatever against the world government, like that part's a little bit kind of tough because, you know, he was under the assumption that he had to work with the government to like for the betterment of his people. So in that regard, like it's like, I don't know if cowardly is the right word, but definitely like not confident, I guess is maybe the way I would put it. Cause like, think about Luffy, like even if he was told as a fact, like, hey, not that Luffy would be a king either, but just in this random world I just made up, if they told Luffy like, hey, if you want to take care of your people, like if you want your people to prosper, you have to work with the world government. He would probably just say, well, I'll find another way. I'm not doing that. I'm not listening to other people on how to take care of my people. I'm going to figure out a different way, right? So it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily cowardice, but it's definitely like not confidence, right? Or competence maybe. So yeah, it's definitely like floating around being a coward. Like he did not believe like in himself or his people that much is almost the way it feels. Like he obviously loved Elbaf and thinks the Giants are great or whatever, but he kind of succumbed to the belief that the world government was the only way forward. And that wasn't true. I think like working with the government was the only way to join the reverie. That is true. Right. So from that perspective, he's correct. But I think he kind of conflated being at the reverie and being accepted by the world, right, and righting the wrongs of the world. Like those two didn't have to be the same, because we even saw it earlier where some of the people around the world were like, yeah, the Giants aren't so bad. The Marine Giants have helped us. Maybe we should go meet one of them. Like, okay, sending some Giants to the Marines, stop there, right? That's fine. Like having Giants help the world and helping the common person, that's fine. Now the Marines do some bad stuff, but working with the Marines is much more acceptable than working with the world government. You know what I mean? So he is a little bit of a coward, or like I said, he's unconfident. He's not believing in himself and his people as much as he should. So yeah, I think I agree. I know I have a few more super chats, but I can't help but answer this one. Friend Harper, member for 7 months. How many Dax clones would it take to beat a lion? Dude, it might take infinite, because I don't know if I want to hurt any lions. You know what I mean? Like, listen, as a kid, I watched Lion King probably 1,000 times. Whenever young Dak was trying to go to sleep and my parents needed to like put on a movie to help me go to sleep, it was Lion King every time, or Space Jam. It was one of the two. Space Jam's my all-time favorite movie, but Lion King's right there with it. And so like I got a soft spot for lions, if I'm being honest with you. So like, I don't know. It might take infinite. I might need backup. I might have to just sit there and watch. But now let's talk about like an animal that I might actually fight. I don't know. I was gonna say like a tiger, but tigers are pretty cool too. Like they're so majestic. I don't know if I want to take out many of these animals. The animals I don't like are really easy for me to take out. Like this isn't an animal per se; it's an insect. But like mosquitoes, listen. One Dak will take out all the mosquitoes. Like just give me the tools. You know what I mean? I hate those things. Trying to think off the top of my head. I mean like invasive species, but that's not a fair answer. That's very, that depends. Dak versus a kangaroo. Oh man, that would be on pay-per-view. Dude, kangaroos are scary, bro. Like they put up the fist like they're about to box. You know what I mean? They are tough, man. Like you'll never see me in Australia. I'll tell you that. Australia scares the hell out of me, and I'm a big animal lover. You won't see me in Australia ever. That place, and no disrespect, by the way. Every Australian I've ever met has been awesome. So, shout out to the Australians. We got a couple Australians on the Cavs who are struggling this year. Not the Cavs are, not the Australians. So I got a lot of respect, but I have a ton of respect because I don't know how you guys survive. The kangaroos, man, I know there's a lot to say about the venomous snakes and insects and all that kind of stuff that's out there. There's a lot of crazy creatures. But the kangaroos, man, when they square up, look, I've seen some videos, man. Those things scare the hell out of me. They're ripped too. Like, there's not many animals where I see like the muscle, like, like definition, but they're terrifying. All right, back to where I was. the seal. I did those. Time Lord with the $2 super chat. White and white sea, deep and deep sea. Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. I saw some theories regarding that last week, and I don't know what like the culmination of the theories was. I didn't see like the conclusion, so because I don't know, in between chapters, guys, it's so tough for me to like get too deep into theories because once the spoilers start coming out, and like let's say like I see something on like Monday night, like on Reddit or even in the Discord, sometimes I'm like, the 1% chance that somebody read the spoilers and incorporated that into the theory is 1% too large. So I haven't looked at a lot, but I did see people talking about this. I don't know what the connection is necessarily, but there definitely is one. There's definitely a parallel there to make with the contracts in those seas. You know, if you look like in the ocean, I've actually been watching some videos about like deep sea ocean life lately because I think that's so cool. If I could like go back to school, well, I could technically go back to school, but if I could redo my schooling again, I might specialize in deep sea marine life because like that's one of the frontiers we haven't really discovered. So I think it's super interesting. Anyways, in the deep part of the ocean, or in the ocean in general, they basically stratify it into 3 general tiers. There's like the shallow part where light is. There's the twilight zone where like a little bit of light is going. But it's like pretty far down where like the life gets kind of weird. And then there's the deep sea, which we've barely discovered anything in. We've only made, I think like 27 people have been to the bottom of, what is it? Challenger's Point? Now I gotta look it up. Now I can't remember. It's the deepest part of Mariana's Trench. What's it called? Challenger Deep. So Challenger Deep is like 11,000 kilometers, or no, I can't remember what it is. I can't remember how deep it is, but either way, it's the deepest part of Mariana's Trench, and like we've only sent like 20-something people there in the history of the world. So anyway, there's 3 tiers in the ocean in real life. There's basically the shallow, the deep, and the deep, essentially, is how they break it down. There's the part that gets light, part that gets a little bit of light, but barely, and then the part that gets no light. And so I think there's a parallel there too with the contracts, but even tying it back to the white and white sea, you could even parallel it there. It's just the reverse because it's up in the sky, you know. So, so it makes me wonder. Just one little theory that I thought of. I don't know if there's opposite contracts where you can make like a Nika-esque contract, and that's what the white and white sea. So maybe there's like a shallow white contract, you know, like a white contract or whatever. You know, whatever they're called for that version. I wouldn't really like that because like Luffy would not care about this. You know what I'm saying? Like he would not, I don't know if he would go around putting marks on people or whatever, but we did kind of have the X's in Alabasta, which was like everybody sharing a mark. So I don't know if there's like a parallel there to make potentially. But I do think that's very interesting. Mr. Bushido, you got 2 in a row here. Appreciate you, my guy. Umit hat also looks like a deep contract hat. Let me go look at that because I always did think that symbol was interesting, but now maybe that is it. Is it clear in this chapter? Oh, I guess it's just an anchor. It's like but there is like a little something in the middle, or like at least on the version I'm looking at, because maybe it's just the art, but there is like a little something under or like in the middle of the anchor too. But I think that's just an anchor. But it does remind me a little bit of the mark. You're right. I doubt there's anything, but I don't know, man. Him being named Deep Sea Current Umit is crazy. Why did they bury Harald but not guard in the throne room? Do you mean like why was the throne room empty when we visited? Is that what you're talking about? Like when Luffy and Rodo and all them went in there? Is that or are you saying like? I guess I'm confused how burying Harald and guarding the throne room are combined. I guess is what I'm getting confused at. But it is weird, you know, that after this happened, they just leave the throne room empty, to be honest. Because, like, if Harald is going to turn into this evil, you know, demonic thing, like, get taken over, And they even were saying, like, who's Harald talking to? You would think that they would maybe keep an eye on the place, but the throne room is filled with skeletons. Oh, but why did they bury Harald but not bury the guards in the throne room is what you're saying. I thought you meant, but why not guard like in the throne room? I was like, I'm not sure, like they don't guard in there, but I don't know. I didn't get how it connected, but now I understand. Yeah, that's kind of savage. I don't know. they didn't bury everyone else. That is kind of, I don't know. I don't have a good reason. I mean, well, from Oda's perspective, I think the answer is dramatic effect, because it looks a lot cooler when we see a bunch of giant skeletons in the room, and it makes it feel more ominous. But realistically, I don't know the answer. I feel like that's, I don't know if plot hole is really the right term, because that's not like, you know, going to really affect the plot that much, but it definitely is like a little bit of like a hole in reasoning, just for, I feel like dramatic effect. I don't know. It is weird. The Holmesian super chatted $10. You said, hey Dak, I've said it once and I'll say it again. You get me through so much. It isn't much in the grand scheme, but thank you for being you, Mr. Dak, sir. Dude, Holmesian, thank you. You guys get me through a lot too. Seriously, I appreciate you. Right back at you. I'm honored that you know, I'm able to help in any way. Seriously. You know, I've had some people tell me that before too. Like if I don't want to stream on a certain day, or I don't want to get a video done or whatever, or maybe I don't like a video that I'm working on. I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to release this one. This is always kind of the one thing that people tell me that always pushes me over the edge, is it's like, well, you know, people do enjoy listening to it, you know, like people enjoy either the stream or videos or whatever. So it's like, even if I have my doubts about certain things, it's like, you know, at the end of the day, people are going to enjoy it, and that's what YouTube's all about, or what really life's all about, to be honest with you. But like entertaining, making, you know, things positive and enjoyable. So the fact that you even said that really means a lot. Seriously, that gives me another push to get this video done I've been working on lately. So, and actually, we have a break this week, right? Yeah, because we've had 3 chapters in a row, so we should have some streams. I know I say this every break week, and then stuff comes up and I end up not doing it, but we have a bunch of breaks coming up this month, and I owe you guys several streams, because I'm still doing, I have a members giveaway that will be happening soon. Then I have the 100K giveaway, which I'll be mentioning in my next video. So I got to get all those things done. So we have some fun stuff to do for the holidays anyway. So thank you very much, Holmesy, and seriously, that is the last bit of motivation I needed to get more stuff done, and then hopefully that creates a feedback thing where, you know, I get that video done, I do a couple streams, and, you know, hopefully that'll still help you, you know, hopefully enjoy those, and that'll create a feedback loop where you'll come back and say the same thing, and that'll push me to do the next video, and we'll keep that going. So, Holmesian, seriously, I appreciate you. I hope you have I don't know if you're still here, but, oh, you are. Never doubt, Dak. Holmesian, I appreciate you, man. Seriously. I was about to say I hope you have a great weekend, but then I was like, but I'll say that at the end to everybody, but I didn't want to say it as if like, you know, I'm leaving or whatever. I was making sure you're still here, but yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Friend Harper with the $10 super chat. For a just government to be able to defend the rights of its people, it has to be strong. Defending against those who would initiate force or coercion is the primary job. Ida understood that implicitly, in my opinion. I completely agree. I completely 100% agree. And that's even in real life politics, in which I try not talking about this as much as I can, but I think a lot of us would agree that like there's a fine line between being too militaristic or not too militaristic, or too authoritative or not too authoritative. Like if you're using, you know, your force of the country, your military or law enforcement or whatever to, you know, be too strong and to be too, you know, you're hurting too many people, they're too dangerous, then you need to claw it back. But that doesn't mean that you have no military and no law enforcement, because then you have no one to protect the people, right? It's a fine line. Like, you do need a military, you do need people who can use force when needed, but if they do it too often in too many places to too many innocent people, then it becomes a problem, right? A lot of countries go through this. Elbaf was going through this, and Harald had exemplified both extreme ends of the spectrum. Because as you're saying, a government has to be able to be strong to protect the people in it. If it's not strong, then people can just attack and hurt everybody. But if they're too strong, and they're too willing to jump to force, then they're going to hurt innocent people, right? So it's very much, there's a fine line. And like you said, Ida understood that implicitly from the very beginning, and I completely agree. But Harald it's like Harald was on one end where he's very, very authoritative. And then he met Ida and he's like, oh my God, we're so bad. We gotta be the opposite. We gotta be pacifists. Like, no fighting. We're doing all peace. It's like, all right, Harald, like you gotta be in the middle. You can't be on either of the extremes, because both of them present too many problems. So yeah, I agree with you 100%, friend Harper. That's the entire issue. Is it's just too militaristic to like non-militaristic. It's like, dude, you can have a military and still be good and just, right? Like, and like you're saying, like, it's actually unjust to not have a military. And it's not that he didn't have a military. Like, there's definitely giants that would fight if they wanted to. He even kind of said that, like, well, whoever wants to fight, I'll support them. Whatever, he said it something like that. But like, you need to have a system in place to protect the people that's strong. But there's just limits to it, So I completely agree, friend Harper, completely 100%. And Mr. Bushido again with the €2. Brooke used to have a shallow mark, but it rotted away. I love that idea, actually. I'm a huge, huge fan of that. I remember, I forget who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody about, like, who might have a mark that we don't expect. And I feel like Brooke is, like, at the top of the list. Mihawk's actually number 1 on the list. Mihawk, I would probably, if there was a One Piece betting market, I would bet money that Mihawk has a mark for sure. Probably just the original, like the shallow sea, like Shanks had probably. Brooke having one's cool. In some ways, I doubt that he would, because that would mean that he has to like work with the government. And yes, he was like working with his kingdom. But it's like working with the government's a whole other thing. But if the kingdom was like, Brooke, we need you to do this to protect us, then maybe. So I like it, to be honest. Straw Hat AP in the chat. Suru has a mark. Hey, leave it to Straw Hat AP to drop the Suru theories. That's so funny. As soon as I saw that pop up, I knew it was you. Hey, look, if Suru has a mark, I mean, Suru stocks are already up, Palm Primus, you said if Brooke had a mark, it would be level 1, so no immortality. Exactly. It would just be the original. And then it would be interesting that he had that fruit then, just because of the like, he didn't have immortality, but he kind of did, right? He kind of cheated the system a little bit. And I also think, like, him and Gunko, excuse me, him and Gunko obviously have a connection. And it would be kind of cool if they both had a mark. And, like, maybe in some way there's even, like, a thing where, like, they were planning on using Brooke for what they used Gunko for, but then Brooke ran away or something like that, so then they just took Gunko to do it. I think that might be a cool plot line. Also, we don't know Brooke's family name, and, like, I don't know. I wonder if Oda's hiding it for a reason, because he is related to, like, a God's Knight family. We just don't know it. I think that would be kind of crazy. If not, Brooke's going to be a Davy, I think. It's one of the two. Either Brooke's a Davy, so he's on one end of the spectrum, or like the God's Knights hate him. Because he also has an afro, right? You think about, well, Rox did the Davy back fights, and we saw Afro Luffy whenever he was doing the Davy back fights. We saw that Baby Blackbeard also had an afro, so I think there might be something with the afros and the Davies. Probably that Davy Jones had an afro, and maybe the One Piece is that afro, but that's for another video probably. But yeah, Brooke, I think, is either a Davy or he's going to be secretly related to a celestial dragon family, and maybe he does have the mark. I think that'd be pretty cool. Cheese Wheel, the Cheese Wheel 4388, member for 5 months. I appreciate you. Dak, what do you think Shanks's mission was? That's a good question. That's a very good question. We feel like we kind of glossed over that a little bit. Because whenever I first heard it, I was thinking, oh, maybe he's getting the gum fruit, but that was 1 year after this. Let me look. If I can just look at, like, Shanks's timeline. Let's see. Personality, relationships. I'm trying to figure out. Let me look at the One Piece. Hold on. Let me look at the One Piece world timeline here to see. Well, I will say the one thing I feel pretty confident on, like, even if I don't know what the original mission was, I do think he is going to be an Elbaf at this point, though, because if he's missing right as this Harald thing is happening. Well, and wait, and he also went to Elbaf, right? Wait, we already know that because he visited there with Scopper earlier in this flashback. So he's there right now in this part of the, like, maybe not right now when they say Shanks is missing and Harold's getting the mark, but here when Harald is like starting to get taken over and stuff, he's already in Elbaf, which is interesting. So what was Shanks doing right before that? And then that puts that whole thing with him and Scopper into a new perspective, where like Shanks was fresh out of the Holy Land, and you know that's where we first saw that he had that mark, and so it's more impactful now that we saw it like right after he left Marijois. So 14 years ago. Oh, here's one thing. This is a little tinfoily, but I gotta say it because it ties to my kid video. So 14 years ago, Tom's workers completed the first sea train, the Puffing Tom, and that I don't know when Tom actually got had his court case, but that's the same year that sea train was made, and then obviously we know like the court thing happened where he got freed or whatever. And part of he was supposed to, but then, the Frankie thing happened, and then Tom got sent to Ennie's lobby, right? And part of my theory on Kid was basically that Shamrock killed his version of Tom, because Kid is obviously like a builder, engineer kind of guy. He's kind of like Frankie. So I think he probably had a Tom who taught him how to build stuff when he was a kid. And I was saying that Shamrock probably killed that Tom, but now Kid holds the grudge against Shamrock because he doesn't know that Shanks and Shamrock are different people. And so I wonder now, with this happening 14 years ago, the Tom's Workers thing, maybe Shanks was sent to the other one, like Kid's version of Tom. I think that might be kind of interesting. Just as one idea. But there's a lot of stuff that happened 14 years ago, too. Ginny gets captured that year, so maybe she did get captured, so it wouldn't have been him that did that, right? Because then he would have returned with her, so that wasn't that mission. Oh, wait, the most important thing that happened 14 years ago was Shushu was born. Maybe that was the mission, because Shushu obviously ended up becoming a menace, so maybe it was to take out Shushu, but he failed. Also, Bourbon Jr. Oh, one of the duck troops was born that year. That's crazy. Oh, and Hikoichi, another one of the birds. Interesting. Kome was also born here, which is one of the ninjas from Wano. Interesting. Anyways. Tiny Angry Gnome, you said check Discord. All right, give me 1 second. And I know I have a couple more super chats here, but I will get to those in just a second. I actually had Discord closed. I actually forgot to even ping the Discord about the stream. I'm sorry, guys. That's my bad. Let's see. You sent me a panel. We couldn't speak freely in the Holy Land. Now that we're both in this country, I really want to talk to him before it's too late. Okay, so he already knew. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be seeing. Let me see. You tell me what I'm supposed to be seeing here, Gnome. What am I missing? Other than this fire panel of Scopper. I always thought Scopper with those sunglasses in this panel was just so dope. I was just saying that this was directly before Harald got killed. Got you. Yeah. That to me is really crazy, like it's also because like Shanks is also saying, I really want to talk to him before it's too late. So he knew that something was going to go down. And so I'm presuming, and maybe that's part of his mission and why he bailed now, is maybe he wanted to come here and warn Harald, and that was like his main thing. I don't know what the mission would be, though. I'm kind of lost on the mission. Going back to Cheese Wheel's question, I don't know. One thing it could be is that he was sent on a mission, going back to the kid thing, which this is a super reach, but maybe this does tie to Kid in some way and back to why Kid hates Shanks. Like, not saying that Shanks actually did anything, but, you know, maybe he was supposed to and he didn't, and then Shamrock went and did it. And so now Kid hates Shamrock for it, and it's kind of ironic because Shanks is like, yeah, Kid, not only was that not me, I refused that mission. I was supposed to go do what made you mad, and I said no because it was wrong. But my brother did it, and now you're mad at me for it. Like, I think that would be kind of deep. Oh, my voice just cracked so bad. I was outside earlier. Man, it's so cold, and my voice, like, my throat is not feeling good, but that's all right. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the mission was. I like the idea that it ties to Kid, but I don't know. That's what I'm rolling with now. He refused to kill Kid's inspiration, Kid's parents or something, and Shamrock did it. That's what I don't know what else to go with. Sugar Rush with the $5. Lots of characters have a sun tat, like Neptune and some of the Skypeans maybe. Maybe that's the Joy Boy contract, but they're not under control because they're free. That's a very cool idea, that like that the sun symbol is the Joy Boy contract, but that contract is that you're free, right? That's the whole idea, is that you're not compelled to go listen to Nika or act like Nika. It's just that you're free. Like, you can do whatever you want. You can make your own decision. That's what the Nika contract is. Because Nika's whole thing is liberation, right? Like, and Luffy doesn't want to control anyone. Sugar Rush, you're cooking. You know what? The more I think about it, I love that idea. There is a Nika symbol. It's just the sun, because it doesn't do anything, right? I love that. That full support. I think you're on the money. Friend Harper 91, again with the $5 super chat. Friend Harper, appreciate you very much. Follow-up thought. The only just use of force is retaliation or self-defense. I agree. Luffy pretty much exclusively used retaliation force. I completely agree with that too. Yeah, you know, and it's funny, you know, like kind of like a philosophical thing, or even like a political thing, kind of like we talked about earlier. You know, people will always say, like, you know, killing is bad, murder is bad, and I definitely agree. Well, murder obviously has a different legal definition, so I'll just say killing is bad. Let's just say that, and I agree, it is bad. But sometimes it's necessary, because if somebody is trying to kill me and my only way out is to kill them, I'm not saying, you know, not promoting that we, you know, that anybody's going to die, but it's just, if somebody is coming to kill me and my only way out is to do the same to them, it's justified, right? Now, maybe I'll have to do I'll have to go to court a bunch and prove it and whatever, but like, just morally speaking, that's the right time to use lethal force, is if somebody else is doing it against you and you have to protect yourself because you were innocent before that. And I don't think it's like just for you just to lay there and let them kill you, right? So yeah, exactly. Like, that's the only just use of force. And it seems like Harald is even kind of like, well, I don't want anyone to have to do anything. It's like, that's a good mindset to have in a general sense. But some people are going to have to be responsible for retaliation or self-defense, right? Like, some of these people are going to have to fight. Like, the Warrior's Pride thing is actually kind of great, because if you can have the people that are responsible for defense embody that and be proud of their strength and be as strong as they can and whatever, that's good, as long as they use it to protect, right? That's the whole idea. And then you can still have a large part of the population not protect. You can have a large part of them study and maybe get good at science and medicine and help in other ways. So then you have you have all the best worlds going on. You got the people fighting to protect the country that are really strong and they love the Warrior's Pride because they want to defend the country. Then you have people who don't really care about Warrior's Pride, who are working on making the country better by improving the infrastructure, or figuring out new medicines, or hell, even working with other countries to find like new foods to make that people like that. All that stuff is what makes like a country fun, what makes living fun, right? So you need both. So Yeah, I agree. And as far as Luffy, he pretty much always does use like retaliation type of force. Like maybe there's sometimes you could say like he's not like maybe against like Blackbeard and Impel Down, because like he wasn't posing like a real threat at the time. Like he could have, but like they were just kind of standing at each other, and Luffy wanted to make the first punch because he wanted revenge for Ace. So there wasn't like an imminent risk. It was more like a delayed thing. Like I want to hurt you because you took my brother, you know, you captured him or whatever. So like it's not really the retaliation force, but kind of, sort of. But yeah, but Luffy picks the right times to use force, right? That's the thing about Luffy and like the story in general is like there's times where you got to put your foot down and be strong. There's times where you want to be fun and chill, and the Straw Hats pick the right time for those things, I would say. I think Oda's making the Straw Hats like the perfect embodiment of a lot of these things. Actually, I brought this up in regards to Dragon as well, because you know how the revolutionaries destroyed the food storages in Marijois? In some ways, you could look at that like, oh, that's a good way to wage war that isn't violent, where like, you know, they're not even starving to death. They just don't have the luxuries that they're used to. And that's like a good way to, you know, kind of annoy them or cause some issues for them without actually hurting anybody. But at the same time, I don't think the Straw Hats would ever do that, because Sanji doesn't waste food, right? No matter who you are, where you are, what's happening, you don't waste food. And so, like, maybe the Straw Hats would go up there and eat all of it and cause problems that way, but they wouldn't destroy them. And so there's like, you know, there's just different ways where like the Straw Hats seem to be like the perfect embodiment of like morality in a lot of ways. Not that they are perfect in general, but I think Oda's trying to have them be kind of like the perfect example of certain things. And I think in regards to force, they definitely do it the right way most of the time. So absolutely. Andy Dolph, you said, what do you say to the hints and flat out Loki's control of the weather? So he definitely does control the weather. I mean, I did that video on it because in chapter, what was it, 1150 something, 55, 1156, I don't know. There was one where, you know, Loki was like still a baby, and like Elbaf suffered that harsh winter, and they were blaming it on Loki. And it was kind of like a cool thing from Oda, in my opinion, where it was like they were blaming it on Loki, and like they might actually be right, but they're wrong in the sense of like, you know, they caused that problem, like, and they don't actually know that, right? They're just blaming it on him because they don't like him, they don't like his eyes, whatever, all that stuff, right? But it might actually be him, which is ironic in that way, but it's not fair to blame it on him because he's not like doing it on purpose. He doesn't really know what's going on. So I thought that little situation was just interesting, but that was like the first confirmation. I did a whole video just on that. But then we saw last chapter when he was crying about, or 2 chapters ago, whatever, he was crying about Rox's death, and it started snowing in the midst of that as well. So that's another time. And now here we see him, sad over Ida's death, and it starts snowing again, which it was actually snowing like even like right when Harald walked out. So like that one maybe isn't as clear of an example, but it doesn't start snowing. At least we don't see snow falling until she's dead. Even here in this panel with the grave, which by the way, I just made this connection. Where is her grave at? Are we looking at the Heaven Realm right now? Because I've always thought the Heaven Realm was going to have a graveyard. That's where like the most important people to Elbaf are going to be buried. Like Harald's grave is probably there. I still have a headcanon that the next time we'll see Yarouge, he'll be at Harald's grave praying. Like, you know, because he was even praying when Kaido jumped off Balloon Terminal, right? So it's like he's already like a priest type figure, but even there he's like kind of praying like so the person doesn't die. So I think he would probably pray at this grave if he knew Harald, even if he didn't, but I think he probably does. I wonder if we're looking at the Heaven Realm, man. I really do. Maybe Ida wasn't allowed to be buried in the Heaven Realm because she wasn't like born in Elbaf, but I kind of like the idea that this is the Heaven Realm. And maybe this is our first glimpse and we just don't know it. I'm a fan of that idea. And also, like, I'm kind of reaching here for this reasoning, but like, you look in the background of this panel and like it's just clouds. Like there are some trees, but there's like nothing above it. It's not like you're still in the lower parts of the tree with like a tree above you, right? It's like just sky. So like This could be like at the end of a branch or something, but it makes me feel like we're at the top of the tree. I don't know. I didn't really clock that when I first read it, but we might be looking at the Heaven Realm. That would be a really cool way for Oda to tease it without telling us, and then once we see the Heaven Realm, then we come back and we're like, oh, wait, we were looking at it back then because we were looking at Ida's grave and it's up there. Because also another thing I'm thinking is like, Harald's got to be buried next to Ida. Like if they buried them far from each other, that's going to be that's going to just be sad for no reason. You know what I mean? Like that, just let the two be buried next to each other. So maybe we will see that that's the Heaven Realm. I don't know. I like that idea though. Damn. Bean Boy, you said it could be her homeland. Technically, yeah. Maybe they went all the way back to Samuwanai Island. Maybe. Like I feel like it's Elbaf just because of just like the paneling of it. Like it feels like this is a different part of Elbaf, but I mean I could be wrong for sure. It could be Samuwanai. That's something I didn't think of. Although, you know, I got to bring this up every time I have a chance, but Pedro was not buried in Zou despite Zou still existing and despite Carrot being close to Pedro and going back to Zou right after Wano when the grave was made. So, you know, if Pedro can be buried in a place that he never even visited instead of his homeland, which was standing right outside Wano because Zunisha visited Wano. If Pedro doesn't make it over to Zou then I can't see them going back to Samuwanai Island. Although, like, to me, that would make a lot of sense to at least go back and let them know Ida died at bare minimum. But based off that precedence, I think this is just going to be Elbaf. Feels like they just do the easiest thing. Which, like, she probably spent more time in Elbaf than anywhere else, so it would make sense for her to be buried here. Her kids are here and stuff. But yeah, Pedro did not set a good precedent for graves, I would say. Time Lord, you said Dak, go up and chat a bit. I think I cooked. Let me see. Are you talking about what if the undead or people like Brook are Emu's worst enemy because he can't make undying someone who's literally dead already? Soul power or death beats the dominance of Mu. Rubber and L's natural weakness. Soul or death, Emu's natural weakness. Imagine he tries to make a contract on Brook and he can't do it because that requires him to damage Brook's body, of which Brook has none. It would be... Hey, come here. Come on. Cliff was about to charge back out at the school bus that just stopped. What? Okay, it's 2:43. Okay, I was about to say, like, aren't we past the time for school buses? No, we're right in the heat of school bus hour. But that's interesting. I mean, that goes against a little bit of a theory I had where, like, Gunko might also already be dead, and then maybe Emu, like, needs the person to already be dead to make them immortal. Like, I was kind of thinking the opposite, but you might be right there too. I would say maybe a small issue is just that, like Brook countering Emu in some way, I think is a good plot line, but he can't counter Emu too much, right? Like I feel like Big Mom was a good middle ground where it's like, okay, he can stop the homies that she makes other than the ones with her soul, but he can't really stop her or her, direct homies made with her soul, right? So I thought that was a good middle ground. So I feel like Brook should probably be in a similar boat where he's, he might be annoying for Emu to deal with, like, oh, you're one of the special ones, I can't, do this, but not that Brook necessarily, can stop Emu or anything. So if the idea is just that Brook is unable to be affected by Abyss stuff because he's already dead, and that's it, like, he just can't be affected, not that he can go and hurt Emu back or anything, but just that he's immune to Emu, I think that'd be interesting, because I think that's what you're going for, so I like that. I just wouldn't want it to be too much to where Brook's like, oh, well, then I'm going to be able to stop you, and then Emu's like, all right, let me go back to Marijwa and, plan on this. Like, I don't want Brook to be that serious of a threat, but if it's just an annoying thing where it's like, oh, I gotta defeat you in like a more typical way, like I can't just use Abyss stuff, I gotta break your bones up, like, physically, like we got to do it the old-fashioned way, like that would be I would like that. So I think you might be onto something. Like, it is interesting though, because, like, I also think, like, soul power is what Emu is using, So I think the idea would be more so like, if you know how to use your own soul, then Emu can't, right? It's like Emu is so good at manipulating souls and like using the mass, if that really does tie to the soul. Like Emu is so good at it that Emu can even use other people's. But maybe Brook is somebody who knows how to use his. So Emu's like, well, I can't control it if you know how to control it. And so maybe there is something there. I don't know. Yeah, he's just immune to Emu, not that Emu will be able to be beaten by him. Yeah, I would like that. Because, like, you could maybe put the mark, like, on his bones, and that might work, but maybe it doesn't for some reason we don't understand. Like, maybe it is the soul thing, like I was saying. It's just that he can control his, and since he can do it, it's like Emu can't get in to do it, but nobody else really thinks about controlling their soul, so nobody else is actively doing it. So maybe Brook has to teach everybody how to do it. I think that'd be kind of cool. Also, Dexter, I see you just pulled up with the Emu eye. Appreciate you, Dex. Yeah, overall, I thought this chapter was honestly really, really interesting. And I mean, I'm really pumped for the next chapter, though. So it seems like Oda's going to end the year with us seeing what really happened 14 years ago. That's going to be the final thing. Because, like I said, technically, I think we're going to get a chapter from TCB for like 1160? Or no, are we on 1168? 1170. Yeah, sorry. So we're going to get 1169 2 weeks from now. And then I think we'll get 1170 in TCB right before New Year's, but then it'll come out like a week after New Year's on official, I believe. So yeah, we're pretty much ending the year with the end of the flashback, which I think is very cool. Cloud Lizard with the $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Rouge's ability to add mass to attack after damage. Oh, you Rouge, you mean? That's interesting. If the soul is in the heart, Law's fruit is OP. That's another. Okay, see now you got me thinking. So real quick about your Rouges. Maybe that is why Oda's been waiting to show us his fruit, is because that's pretty much what's happening. Is like it does tie to the mass, like because he has the karma fruit, or that's what we're led to believe. It actually hasn't been confirmed yet, but we're led to believe it's the karma fruit. And so the idea was just as you take damage, you get stronger. And I always thought there was an interesting parallel to Kuma there, because Kuma ejects pain out of people. But then obviously if you take it, you get weakened and it's not like strengthening you. But it's almost like Rouge does the opposite, where he takes a bunch of pain, but then that converts that to strength. And so maybe the idea is it's all behind mass, where like he's taking the mass of like what would be the mass of that damage, because like it's kind of intangible, but you take what would be the mass of that and convert that to like power like that. And maybe that's why Oda's waited so long to show us that. Like he wanted to show us God Valley and the mass there, and maybe explain some parts of the soul and stuff before he gets to that, because it's going to be important. I think that's very interesting. But then you also said if the soul is in the heart, Law's fruit is OP. Yeah, I wonder where the soul is kept. Like the heart would be the first guess, right? But I could also see like the brain. I could also see that the 21 grams is just dispersed throughout your body evenly. You know what I mean? Like it's just like evenly spread throughout. I do like the idea that Law's fruit has an angle here. Like even going back to like the immortality surgery, like is that affecting the soul or the mass or whatever in some way? You know, like I don't know how that would work if we're gonna try to like really reason through it scientifically, but it does make you think. Straw Hat AP, I'll read yours in just a second because I saw that Bean Boys kind of relates to what we're talking about. Wait, wouldn't Law already have an idea of soul because he swapped everyone's personalities on Punk Hazard? He should. I mean, it's interesting because like the soul and the personality and like even the soul and like the 21 grams of soul are different things, right? Because like the lifespan that Big Mom uses is different than the 21 grams that like leaves your body when you die. Because like the idea is like Big Mom takes your lifespan and she can take so much that you just die. But then once you do die, there's supposed to be 21 grams that leaves even after that. So like they're going to be separate things. But even the personality is like, it's definitely tied to the soul, but that's also a little bit different. But they're all connected, so it still matters. So maybe, I don't know. Like, if there's anybody who would know, it's probably Law, who like would at least, because like it was also like a doctor, right, who figured it out. He said like a doctor in the West Blue, which is probably Dr. Hogback. And Dr. Hogback was also like a surgeon of sorts because he was putting all these corpses together. So like Law would definitely fit in line with all those different things. So yeah, honestly, Law should have a big part in this soul stuff for sure. Now that you point that out, I don't. And going back to Cloud Lizard, like I don't know if it's going to be, you know, that Law can like carve out the soul or anything like that. You know, like he can, whether it's in the heart or even if he can just find the 21 grams wherever it is. Like, I'm not sure if that'll end up being it, but he has to have a role in this. Like, even if he just chimes in like, oh, are you guys talking about the 21 grams? I've been studying that forever. I can't figure it out. You know, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that's going to come into play either. Cause like Law is still getting dragged away by Beppo, right? People have said he might be in Smoker's Box. He might be, joining Cross Guild. I still want him to meet up with Sengoku personally to build on the Corazon thing. Cause Sengoku is probably heading out to go take out the Cross Guild. So maybe Law and him somehow merge together in a Cross Guild situation. But that would make sense that he would know a thing or two for sure. Straw Hat AP with the $2. He said, hearts of the Gale Ra company are in Enel's Automata. You know, it's interesting to tie those together just because the Gale Ra giants were shipwrights, and shipwrights to me is like it's like the entry door into like just being a scientist in general, right? Like you think about Frankie, like he doesn't just build ships, he builds robots and giant lasers and things like that, right? Like all that science stuff originates through shipbuilding. That's just kind of how Oda does it. I mean, obviously there are regular scientists too that aren't shipwrights necessarily, like kind of like Vegapunk, although Vegapunk has built ships and could build more ships. He's the one responsible for putting sea stone on ships to go through the Calm Belt and stuff, right? So like he does dabble in that arena as well, but I always kind of just conflate the two a little bit. And so it's interesting tying them to an Enel's Automata because the Automata are obviously like a very high-tech thing up in Burka. And then the Gale Ra people, like, it would be interesting if they had a hand in it just because they are also, like, high-tech shipwrights probably. I don't know if it would be, like, their actual hearts are in there, but I could see, like, a little bit of their soul or something, going back to this whole soul discussion. Because I'm definitely of the mind that, like, I don't know, maybe Pluton runs on the soul, or like just the, like, you know how there was an ancient power source that they figured out that Vegapunk is still trying to figure out, but he figured out the Mother Flame, which is close, but it's like not perfect or whatever. Like there's another step that's even better than that Vegapunk hasn't figured out. I feel like that's probably a soul thing, and I feel like that might be the Forbidden Sun, which might tie to like soul energy in some way. And I think that could be what they're using to power the Automata, I would say. I think that probably lines up. Yeah, because you know how like the moon ran out of resources? I wonder if that resource was kind of like Forbidden Sun energy, right? Like soul energy, whatever. Because like you go back to the mural and like we know they were going down the Forbidden Sun and pulling energy up, and it looked like the people were like dying on one side but then came back to life on the other. So I feel like there's a connection. And on the Elbaf mural, like, or no, on the moon mural, it's sometimes hard to say, they had that like little orb at the top that was like powered up, and it kind of reminded me of the Forbidden Sun thing. So maybe they were running on some Forbidden Sun but ran out, so everyone does have some soul a little bit. I think that would make sense. Let's see here. Debus with the no, never mind. The $7 Canadian. And Debus, I haven't read your last couple messages, but I need to, and I hope we have some good updates on the whole package thing. Sorry that package you sent, there's been all these issues, man. That is super annoying. I'm really sorry about that. Annoying for you, more than anything, but like even just I think I told you, like I've had a couple packages get rejected at my PO box for some reason, so really sorry you got to deal with that. I wish they could figure it out, but hopefully we have some good news here soon about that. And now oh, there it is. Blackbeard will be the next God Knight. His plan to join the world government is the same as Harald's was, but he has Garp to bargain like he did with Ace to join the Warlords. So I completely agree that Blackbeard is aiming to become a knight, or like he wants to become a king, right? To be recognized as a king. But it's kind of similar to Harald right now, where like, yes, he was a king, but he wanted to be recognized, like his country to be recognized at the Reverie. And I feel like Blackbeard's in a similar world where like he is the king of Hachinosu. He just needs Hachinosu to be recognized. Harald wanted Elbaf to be recognized. So I think there is a play there. And that's actually a video that will probably be out before the next chapter, actually. I'm doing a video on what's going on in the Holy Land. And to give you guys like the basic synopsis, I think this flashback, so Emu mentioned the Holy Land being on fire like 2 chapters before the flashback. And so I think Oda did that because there was stuff that he was setting up within the flashback that'll make the Holy Land thing make more sense later, right? And I think part of that is, we know like Blackbeard's family was hunted by the Celestial Dragons. We know that Shanks in Blackbeard's histories, their fate has been tied from the very beginning. And we also know that Dragon has a role in all this too, because we saw how he came to hate the Celestial Dragons and he saved Shanks, right? So those are like 3 players, and a lot of other people, but those are like 3 main players whose lives were completely changed because of God Valley. And I think that's what Oda's telling us, is that those people are going to be involved in the Holy Land incident. And so long story short, I'll just say, like, I do think Blackbeard's goal there is to help out the government and become a God's Knight, a king, whatever it is. I don't know I don't know what he's going to call it, but he's going to just tell them like, hey, I'll help you out if you give me what I want. And maybe it is one of the Abyss marks that he needs. I don't know what his plan is necessarily, but maybe he needs one to achieve some, the next stage of things. Maybe he just wants to get really close to Emu so he can take Emu's powers. And like, it's not that he actually wants a mark, is that he wants to sit in front of Emu, because in order to get the mark, you have to, now that we've seen it, Emu does it. So you have to sit in front of Emu and get it done. So that would be a chance for Blackbeard to take Emu's powers probably. So I do agree that that's what's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be with Garp, because the government hates Garp. And so I don't see, like, if Blackbeard were to pull up and say like, hey, I got your legendary hero, let's make a bargain, I don't think Emu's even going to care. Like, I think from Emu's perspective, it would almost, like, because they already don't like Garp, but even to another degree, if Blackbeard takes Garp away and they can keep putting in the papers, hey, Blackbeard takes Garp, evil pirate Blackbeard has taken the legendary hero of the Marines, I think that makes pirates look worse, or Blackbeard look worse in particular. And like, the government kind of wants people to be on their side. So if there can be a thing where it's like, hey, the pirates are hurting your favorite Marine, that kind of helps them, right? So I don't know if the government's going to want Garp personally. And that's why I think the Garp plot line is more likely to end up at the Cross Guild, because we learned that Garp was worth 3 billion. And I just think like Blackbeard meeting up with the Cross Guild and trying to get 3 billion from them, and then using the 3 billion, I just think that there's a lot of important plot points that could come from that. So that's what I think. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a want more than I think that'll actually happen, the Cross Guild thing. But I think it would be really cool. But I really doubt that Garp will like be worth anything to the world government. I think they're like, please get rid of him. We haven't wanted him since day one. So I don't know. I'm excited to see where Garp goes though, because like, after everything we saw in the flashback, Garp was obviously so important to taking down rocks. And like, from Blackbeard's perspective, if he's able to understand, oh, wait, you actually killed my dad, or well, not really, because it was Garling, but like, you had a huge hand in defeating my dad. The day my dad died, you played a role in it. I don't know, like Blackbeard's, I don't know how he's going to feel, but I want that discussed. So either way, yeah, I do agree about the God's Knight part though, or King, whatever we want to call it. I agree. Croderick with the 5 euros. You think Shangara could be inspired by Shangri-La, an isolated paradise where people age so slowly they're considered immortal, linked to time dilation? That's interesting. I haven't really made that connection, to be honest with you. I was thinking like Shandora right away, right? But that would maybe make some sense too. Shangri-La is a mythical earthly paradise described in James Hilton's 1933 novel Lost Horizon. The AI answers are kind of iffy sometimes, but we're going to roll with it. Symbolizing a hidden, harmonious valley of eternal youth in the Tibetan mountains, derived from a Buddhist concept of Shambhala. The name now refers to various places, including a city in China's Yunnan province, luxury hotels, resorts, gardens, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so basically, yeah, it's just a place of eternal youth, like a harmonious place. Honestly, yeah. Because you also think, like, you know, L's and R's can be swapped a lot of the times in Japanese. And so Shangara, Shangri-La, it's kind of like Gali-La and Gale-Ra kind of combo, right? So I think it's definitely a play on it. Now, can we take it far enough to say that you are just immortal up there, like it's a place that grants eternal youth? It's probably more like the opposite, where the people who have been granted eternal youth all hang out in the same place. You know what I mean? Like, they all got this surgery, or the abyss mark, or whatever grants immortality, so they all hang out in the same place. So it's like a, you know, it's not like that area is granting it, but they just hang out there. So I definitely think there's a parallel, for sure. I think everything fits really well. That's actually a pretty cool connection. And I think Shandora is also a connection too, though. Like, I don't know if Shandora also fits into the Shangri-La thing, like with eternal youth, but I also think, you know, they did have those trees that held the souls of their ancestors, and so in some ways it's like those ancestors never left, and so there's maybe a little bit of a play there in terms of immortality. But yeah, I think you're onto something for sure. Also, I see JJ in the chat, another Topman chapter. Thank you, Oda. Yeah, I know you needed it after that Cowboys game, didn't you? But you guys did beat the Chiefs the other week, so I was happy about that. But I know things didn't go your well. Was it last night, or what day is it? Day Friday? Yeah, it's the Thursday night. Was that? I think it was last night, right? This is how much I don't follow football. Is I like all I know is I saw some memes about the Cowboys losing. So. Oh, yeah, that's right. They lost to the Lions. That's tough, man. That's tough. That's tough. Hope you're doing well, though, JJ. Glad you could stop in, for real. Debus, you said it's all good. USPS will always be USPS. Yeah, man. It's especially the one where my P.O. box is. I actively go to different USPSs whenever I need things. It's just that one was the only one within reasonable driving distance that had a P.O. box open, and now I see why it was the only one with a P.O. box open. To give you guys a quick little synopsis of what happened with me and Debus, if you guys care, is he sent me a package, and you guys will see what was in the package. There's some cool stuff in there, but he sent me a package, and I've had this P.O. box for 1.5 years now, and I had one package rejected before, and this is the second one. So I went in, and I was like, hey, I've had a couple packages rejected now. Like, I get letters and stuff, but my packages keep getting rejected. And I'm like, what's going on? And he went and looked for like 10 minutes, and he's like, all right, so we never physically changed the name on the P.O. box, so it said it was somebody else, even though it's yours. And so that's why they kept getting rejected, is they just did not put my name on the P.O. box from their end of it. So even though I had the keys, and even though in the system I owned it and I was paying the money, they never changed my little name tag on the actual box on their side of it. So they just kept rejecting my packages, thinking somebody else owned my P.O. box. So, like, I mean, that is just, to me, that's like the most basic of things to figure out. You know, I haven't worked at USPS. I don't know how hard that is to, you know, if it's like confusing, maybe they're understaffed, whatever. But it's like, man, I've been paying 1.5 years, and you guys still didn't change the name tag, you know. But hey, hopefully we get that package in soon, Debus. That was I know, like I said, it's no fun for any of us, man. It's not fun for you to deal with that. It's not fun for me to go in. It's probably not fun for them to get chewed out by their superiors for messing up. So I don't know, man. Hopefully they figure it out. Cloud Lizzie said, yeah, USPS is rough. That's not too hard, but there's a bunch of newbies now. Yeah, that, you know, I mean, I was nice to him, you know, I'm trying to have some grace, but I was like, man, it's been 1.5 years. And who knows how many other letters I was supposed to get that got rejected for no reason. Because, like, I got a lot of letters, so I tend to think it's just packages that they were rejecting. But, like, man, I don't know. I always got love for USPS, though, because my mom still delivers to this day. She's been a mail delivery person since I was in, like, 3rd grade, man. For, like, 20 years now or something like that. I don't even know. Really long time. So I always got love for USPS, but I don't know, man. They've been dropping the ball lately for sure. JJ, I come to the stream to escape from my struggles, and you mentioned the Cowboys first. Be a better friend, Dak. Hey, you came in talking about Top Man. What am I supposed to do? You know I got love for the Cowboys because they got the only other Dak in the universe. There's actually a couple others, but the only one that people seem to know, or the only two, are me and him. So, you know, I got nothing but love for the Cowboys. I said it, I think, last stream, but Ezekiel Elliott played for the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott was in my living room multiple times when I was in college, all right? I was at OSU the same time as Ezekiel Elliott. I wouldn't say we were friends, but he was at my crib multiple times. I'm pretty sure I dapped him up multiple times. JJ, my mom retired from USPS also. Evil twin for real. That's actually crazy. Was she a mail carrier on a rural route? It's always hard for me to say rural route, but because that would make it even crazier if she was, because that's what my mom does. I ain't gonna tell you guys which rural route that she works on, but she is out in the middle of nowhere for most of her deliveries. Cloud Lizard, yeah, that's a clerk's responsibility. Silly gooses, yeah. I mean, to be fair, funny little story. Whenever I got that P.O. box, the girl who was signing me up for the P.O. box actively encouraged me to go get a P.O. box somewhere else. And I was like, well, you guys are the only one. And she's like, well, I would really consider waiting. Like, she was trying to tell me not to do this. And I was like, look, I need a P.O. box right now. I can't really do a whole lot. And she's like, well, and I told her, like, well, this is just for, like, return, like, very one-off things. Like, I'm not going to be getting mail delivered here full time. She's like, maybe it'll be fine. It has not been fine. So I should have listened to her. Shout out that girl for, I don't know what her name was, but shout out whatever her name is. But all right, I think we're about to wrap it up here. I think we're good. Thank you guys for being here as always. I thought this was a great chapter. Maybe like a little bit less hype than some of the last few, but like I loved this chapter personally. I mean, it's sad to see Ida go. Ida's such a goat, but you know, if you're a mom in a flashback, you're cooked. So we knew it was coming. I thought the Harald stuff was good. In some ways, it makes Harald look a little bit better in an ironic way, because like I said, Rox didn't tell Harald about Emu. That helps his case a little bit. And so either way, I'm excited for this next thing because of how it was set up. So again, we have a break, so I'll be back in 2 weeks. I have a couple videos planned for over this break week, so there should be at least 2 I'm expecting. And what was I going to say? Oh, and I mentioned it earlier, but I do owe you guys a couple giveaways. They should both happen before Christmas. So the full 100K channel giveaway I'll be mentioning in probably the next video. I have it. Yeah, it'll be in the next video. I'll figure it out. It'll be in the next video. So be on the lookout for that. You'll just have to like comment something to enter or whatever. But then also for the members who are wondering when the TCG giveaway is happening, because I'm opening like 5 boxes for the members. I was going to do that in the same stream as the 100K giveaway stream, but I think now I've made things too confusing and I've taken too much time. So I'm going to do them separately. So I'm going to do the box opening sometime over this break, and then we'll do the 100K opening and giveaway thing like maybe the following break or something. So either way, we're going to have a huge card opening. We're going to open 5 boxes. OP13, OP09, OP05, PRB02, and I forget what the other one is, but we're going to open 5 boxes on one single stream. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a nice little fun Christmas stream in a way, because all those cards will be given away to members. So if you are if you're a member, go check out the community post. You'll see a members only post that you can sign up on. And if you're not a member and you actually want to sign up, you can still become a member and go sign up for that. I'm not doing the list till the stream starts. So if you want to try to get some free TCG cards, go sign up. If you haven't seen it before, the way it works is I basically only keep the manga rare if we pull it. or like the really top tier chases, but mainly the manga rare. And even if we do pull it, I still give you like a full box or something. But other than that, all the alt arts and all the rares and all that go to the members. So make sure you enter if you're interested. That'll be during the break week sometime. So, and also, and last thing, JJ, you said Topman cards loading. Yeah, there are Topman cards in OP 13, so he's not lying. They're all the Gorosei and Emu. That's what that set is like. That's what the whole set is kind of well, it's actually focused on like Ace, Luffy, and Sabo, but also the Gorosei kind of mixed in, which I think is a cool combo. But it's a really cool set, so we're going to open up a box of that as well as some other stuff. So I'm hunting every Karasu card, Cloud Lizard said. That's a great character to collect, I feel like. That's interesting. I was thinking of that recently too, where I need to start like a Brook collection, right? Or even a Noland collection, which I think there's only one Noland card so far. But if there's ever an alt art or manga Noland, trust me, I will buy that day one. And Cloud Lizard, you said, I have a Warcury alt art. Oh, don't tell JJ. You know, JJ's waiting for the Topman card. The Topman card actually looks pretty sweet too. It's probably the best designed Gorosei alt art card, I would say. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys, as always. And yeah, we'll, like I said, break this week, but I will do the giveaway, and I should also be doing like a discussion stream at some point. We did one last week because the stream crashed at one point, so I kind of had to, but I thought that was fun. I like doing the discussions. It's just when the chapter drop, you know, like I usually react Friday, and then the spoilers come out by Monday, so I got like only a couple days to get videos done. But now I got a break week, so we should have some more streams and stuff. So either way, be on the lookout, keep notifications on, all those things. But thank you guys